Going back to the top story, India blocks the flow of water from the Chenab River to Pakistan, and a Moody's report says an economically weaker Pakistan cannot afford a war with India. Joining us are Ambassador Prabhu Dayal and Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni. Ambassador Dayal is a former Indian ambassador to Morocco and Kuwait. He also served as an Consul General in Karachi, Pakistan. And General Kulkarni is a former Director General Infantry of the Indian Army. He was decorated with the Shaurya Chakra for his role in Operation Meghdoot in 1983 and 84 when he unfurled the Indian national flag at Bilafonla Pass on the Siachen Glacier. Gentlemen, welcome to DD India News Hour. Mr. Dayal, to you first. First, India suspends the Indus Waters Treaty. Then, it cuts the flow of water from the Chenab River. Next, it plans to do the same with the Jhelum River. Is the noose tightening on Pakistan? Will it hurt Pakistan when it hurts the most?
Well, Ramesh, first of all, thanks for having me on your show.
Welcome.
You're absolutely right in saying that the noose is tightening around Pakistan's neck. Pakistan depends hugely on the Indus River and its tributaries. And if India is able to stop the flow of the waters of these rivers, Pakistan will suffer hugely because the agriculture in that country, the generation of hydroelectric power, both these are hugely dependent on the waters of the Indus River, the Jhelum Chenab. Now, the point is that Pakistan knows that it is in a very difficult position. As it is, its economy is tottering. And if India blocks the Indus River waters and the waters of its tributaries, Pakistan is going to collapse. And that is why their government has said that by announcing that India will hold the Indus River Waters Treaty in abeyance, India is saying something which is an act of war. They've called it an act of war because it is going to hurt Pakistan in a really big way. Now, let me say that Prime Minister Modi had categorically said that India will identify, trace and punish every terrorist and their backers. And he means it. The backers are the Pakistani establishment, particularly the army and the ISI. And they're already in a very difficult situation because they are fighting insurgencies in Balochistan and in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. So if the economy of Pakistan is further hit by our stopping the rivers which flow into Pakistan from India, then they will suffer hugely, and they know it. And that is why they are making a lot of noises. They are trying to say that India is going to attack them. And Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif of Pakistan, in a telephone call with the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, said that the US should try and restrain India, etc., etc. The fact is, they are facing a very difficult situation. Their population is already up in arms against the government because it sees the government as being, first of all, a usurper. The Shehbaz Sharif government was installed by the Pakistan army, and there are many in Pakistan who support the Imran Khan's party and who feel that this is a usurper government and that the government should have been run by the party which actually had the largest number of seats. So there is a lot that is happening within Pakistan internally, and the stopping of the Indus River water will hit Pakistan in a very, very severe.
Indeed. General Kulkarni, a report by global ratings agency Moody's says Pakistan cannot afford a war with India. Now, what does that tell you about Pakistan's military preparedness and its ability to withstand Indian countermeasures? Do you think the state of the Pakistani economy would be one of the factors New Delhi will keep in mind when it decides on the nature and scope of its retaliation?
Absolutely, Ramesh. Pakistan's on the back foot. The previous chief, General Bajwa, said that they don't have even adequate money to have diesel in their tanks. That was the state of affairs. They just can't even that Hashim Sethi has said so many times that Pakistan cannot afford a war beyond 5 days. That's it. They are really pathetic state of economically, militarily, because the military is also involved in fighting the Baluchis, the Pashtuns in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. There's so much involvement in the Sindh. There's so much of resentment against the Punjabis. So Pakistan is on a multiple front, totally surrounded. And here it intends to take on India. Impossible. Pakistan cannot stand a war. Not even conventional, neither either way. Even, it's not going to be conventional the way one generally thinks about it, but Pakistan cannot stand a war, and Pakistan's in the back foot, and Pakistan going around the world wanting to tell even the Secretary of the UN primarily that please request India to talk and de-escalate the situation. Well, the barbaric and the terrorist act of Pakistan has to be punished.
Right, gentlemen, do stay on. I have some news that's just coming in. In the wake of the Pahalgam attack, we are told several international airlines are now avoiding Pakistani airspace. Among major airlines avoiding the Pakistani airspace over Pakistan are Air France, British Airways, the UAE's Emirates and Germany's Lufthansa. This is news just coming in. In the wake of the 22nd April Pahalgam attack, many international airlines are now avoiding the Pakistani airspace. Among them are Air France, British Airways, Emirates and Germany's Lufthansa. And while we are on this news, Ambassador Dayal, would you like to come in and share your thoughts on the import of this news just coming in?
Well, certainly these international airlines are avoiding the Pakistani airspace because they fear that a war might be on the horizon. The outbreak of war might take place pretty soon. And they do not want to have their planes flying over Pakistan in such a situation. Now, there is a lot that the Pakistanis themselves have done to promote the narrative of the outbreak of war being very likely. Their leaders have been shouting from the rooftops that India is going to attack them.
Right.
Now, whether India attacks them or not is not my decision. I have complete confidence in our Prime Minister. He has said that he will identify, trace and punish every terrorist and their backers, and I'm sure that he will do so in a manner that is effective and enduring. He will use geopolitics, he will stifle the Pakistani economy. If necessary, he will authorize a war against Pakistan. I trust the Prime Minister's wisdom and his intellect and his capacity to take the best decisions in India's interest.
Indeed, and taken off from the point where Ambassador Dayal left, General Kulkarni, 2 weeks on from the Pahalgam attack, where does India's initiative lie insofar as a kinetic response is concerned? Could you give us a peek into the Indian government's mind or thinking when it comes to options, potential targets and possibly timing?
See, Ramesh, we have multiple options and multi-pronged attack has to be launched at the source of terror, and that is Pakistan. And that multiple options that we have, both kinetic, non-kinetic, diplomatic, political, and we have also seen the Indus Water Treaty, even though non-kinetic, is going to turn out catastrophic for Pakistan. So when you see all of it, and even before, probably, I personally feel, probably Pakistan just might throw the towel and say that enough is enough, we will not do it, and all those crocodile tears will start flowing with a view to prevent the total annihilation of Pakistan. So Pakistan knows very well whether it is on the naval front, whether it is on the air front, or whether it is going to be a ground war. Pakistan is on the back foot. It cannot last for more than 4 to 5 days. And if that be so, right now, even preparing for it, the fear that India might retaliate in itself is adequate to virtually bring in a Pakistani economic collapse. Even like what you're just talking about, the foreign airlines not wanting to fly over using the Pakistan airspace, or even want to not to even touch down in Pakistan, is adequate to convey to the world that Pakistan is a pariah state which one doesn't need to touch. So this this kind of a propaganda, this kind of a psychological warfare is adequate to break Pakistan. And Pakistan will break. There is no denying the fact, because within Pakistan also there are noises much against the Chief of the Army Staff, even against the Punjabi, the Pakistan Army on the back foot in Balochistan, losing over 1,500 troops a year. Not so easy. The Durand line is absolutely volatile. They don't know Taliban, Tehrik-e-Taliban, Pakistan, the Pakistani. They own Fazlur Rahman in the National Assembly stating that there are over 5 and more provinces in Balochistan not flying the Pakistani flag. They are already flying the Balochistan Liberation Army flag. Imagine what's going on. And at this point of time, Pakistan intends to launch an attack on India. What's gone wrong with Pakistan? A country which is economically shattered and doesn't have anything. And over and above, whatever they had loaned, in fact, given it to Ukraine. Everybody knows that all the ammunition from there has gone to Ukraine. And in this situation, and even if Turkey has put in a ship over there, it makes no difference whatsoever. Even if China comes up supporting Pakistan, it doesn't make any difference, because what will the Pakistan do? In just about 4 days, it will just collapse. And that collapse will be very, very difficult for Pakistan then to be able to get up. And the Indus Water Treaty in itself, I think the very fact that the visuals that are being shown, they're absolutely dry riverbed where water used to be over 15 feet, absolutely dry bed. Most of your reporters are standing on the riverbed and reporting for what's going on there. So I think at this point of time, Pakistan is on the back foot. But Pakistan needs to be taught a lesson. That it goes beyond it. When, how, in what manner is a different thing. But Pakistan has to be taught a lesson, because enough is enough. Pakistan cannot continue using terrorism as an instrument of state policy. And the world also must understand. There are some countries in the world, this duplicity and double talk not acceptable, whoever it comes from.
Absolutely.
Because there's no question. And I agree with a foreign minister. No, stop preaching. There's no way. You practice.
Absolutely.
We are suffering, and we must stand up to it, and Pakistan must be taught a lesson.
Indeed. Yeah. And very quickly, if I may, Ambassador Dayal, to you, 3 developments have taken place. 1, Iran's foreign minister visited Pakistan. He will visit India later this week. 2, Russia's president spoke with India's prime minister. Russia says the terrorists and their supporters should be brought to justice. And 3rd, the UN Security Council is to hold a discussion on the India-Pakistan tensions, among others. How do you look at New Delhi's diplomatic outreach in the wake of the Pahalgam attack?
Well, I think Delhi has done a great job in reaching out to other countries and sending across the message to them that Pakistan's mischief is unabating. You know, neither has Pakistan's attitude to India changed from what it was in the beginning, nor has its policy. In fact, we all know that for decades, the Pakistani generals have been saying that they will bleed India by 1,000 cuts. Now, I think the time has come when we must break up Pakistan into 1,000 pieces. Pakistan is facing a lot of internal problems. It is facing dissension. It is facing rebellion from a number of militant groups. And I don't think that Pakistan in its present form will last forever. As it is, in 1971, it broke up into Bangladesh. East Pakistan became Bangladesh. And I think that a further breakup of Pakistan is very likely. And that, I think, is going to be the unfolding scenario. Pakistan will pay for its misdemeanors by ceasing to exist as one country. It will break up into several countries.
Ambassador Dayal, General Kulkarni, I'm afraid that's all we have time for. May I thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts and insights with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.